Silicon Valley is in the middle of pulling off one of the most elegant cons in its history, convincing the world that building smart machines requires destroying human intelligence and jobs at industrial scale. It's the inevitable result of mythological thinking so intoxicating that admitting it's wrong would mean acknowledging hundreds of billions of dollars were invested in the wrong direction. If it continues, they will literally eat our future from the inside out. It began with early AI founders obsessed with artificial general intelligence, basically a super intelligent computer that could solve everything or kill us all. No middle ground. To this small group of tech folks and billionaires, it wasn't if this happened, it was when and who would control it. The promise of glory seemed limitless, as were the dystopian possibilities if the wrong people got there first. So, this FOMO fueled hubris got translated into absolutely massive investment and spending. Companies are committing over $300 billion to AI infrastructure in 2025 alone. Meta just raised their spending to at least 66 billion. Google is burning through 50 billion this year. Microsoft's spending exploded from 5 to 22% of revenue, and this is all based on one assumption that AGI requires massive models trained on internet scale data in centralized cloud infrastructure. This assumption became so accepted that questioning it feels heretical. But what if the entire architectural approach is not just inefficient, but actively counterproductive? What if the pursuit of AGI through brute force scaling has created systems that are simultaneously incredibly expensive and also remarkably stupid? Strangely, big AI companies themselves are quietly starting to publish research that shreds their own business model. GPT-5 reportedly has trillions of parameters and needs city-level electricity. The infrastructure that runs through it comes from Microsoft. But Microsoft's own Phi 3 model has just 3.8 billion parameters and outperforms much larger models. While GPT-3 takes months on massive clusters, Phi 2 trained in 14 days on modest hardware. Google's model swarms, which are collections of smaller specialized models, beat large models by 20%. But the most damaging research is coming from Singapore. Researchers there have built a so-called hierarchical reasoning model with just 27 million parameters, not billion, million. This model takes up 27 megabytes, small enough for a 1995 computer. Hierarchical reasoning is a fundamentally different architecture from industry-dominant LLMs, which use chain of thought reasoning. It solved 55% of complex Sudoku puzzles, while Claude and GPT solved none. On maze problems, it found optimal paths 74.5% of the time. Claude and GPT, again, zero. If a model that fits on a high-density floppy disk can outthink systems costing hundreds of billions, the entire industry is built on quickstand. Big AI is facing an urgent problem. These companies must generate returns on their unprecedented investments. They can't make enough from consumer subscriptions. They need enterprise customers. And the fastest way is through workforce automation. High-skilled workers are 60% of most companies' expenses. If AI can cut headcount by 20 to 30%, profit margins and stock prices will explode. This creates a perverse loop. Companies are developing research that makes their infrastructure obsolete while being unable to pivot because it would kill their investments. They must sell what they've built, and the only way is through mass job elimination. The employment apocalypse is already happening. The tech sector lost 130,000 jobs in 2024, and in January 25, we saw the lowest professional job opening since 2013, with 40% of white-collar job seekers failing to get an interview at all. But here's the twist. Many AI-targeted jobs are what anthropologist David Graeber called bullshit jobs, roles like administrative coordinators, compliance officers, and middle management that exist mainly to deal with complex hierarchy and bureaucratic processes. These roles are often light on meaning and heavy on misery. In theory, eliminating this kind of work could free humans for care work, creativity, and community building and other roles that more directly support everyone's flourishing. But there's a catch because even these bullshit jobs distribute resources. Eliminating jobs without changing the predatory and meaningless economic framework creates mass unemployment, not liberation. In the US, cities like Nashville, Houston, and Dallas might face economic collapse. This is because these areas employ massive numbers of folks in customer service, finance operations, and insurance. They could see simultaneous unemployment spikes, property value crashes, shrinking tax bases, and secondary waves of unemployment from hospitality and service work that's no longer supported by the economy. Unlike previous disruptions that happened gradually and created new opportunities elsewhere, like other countries, AI automation threatens to eliminate jobs faster than new ones can be created anywhere. Displaced workers face permanent exclusion from the economy, creating an hourglass economy with no middle. But this isn't just about jobs, it's an attack on what makes us human, which is our ability to collaborate, to care for each other, and to navigate uncertainty together. Big AI, primed by social media and subscription services, creates mediation layers between humans, making us dependent on corporate services rather than interdependent on one another. When AI handles customer service, we lose conflict resolution skills. When AI manages logistics, we lose adaptive problem solving in real time. When AI creates truth, we lose collective sense making. As economists Darren Acemoglu and Simon Johnson wrote, those who rally for technology's creation impose their vision, that of a narrow elite with all their blind spots and self-serving philosophies. The research shows alternatives exist. Small models, hierarchical reasoning, distributed systems could democratize AI. They could reduce infrastructure needs and augment rather than replace human capabilities. Edge computing could eliminate corporate dependence. Locally controlled AI could enhance data analysis and retrieval without replacing judgment. Collaborative architectures could improve group decision-making and help resolve conflict rather than substituting algorithmic authority. But realizing these alternatives requires confronting the economic forces driving automation and reimagining technology's relationship to human flourishing. We've reached the point where what could be a transformative technology for everyone's flourishing is being twisted to benefit only those with power and resources, precisely because they made bad bets from the beginning. Just like the dot-com boom created useful tech alongside massive waste and devastation, AI may leave us with tools buried under economic wreckage and abandoned infrastructure. As investments reach unprecedented scales and automation pressures intensify, momentum toward workforce replacement becomes unstoppable, and the hubris of a handful of billionaires is eating our future. But there are other options, and some of those options might just take down the brittle monoliths in time. Flexibility tends to win in the long term. If you'd like to learn more, please check out the full article on my Substack.